Local Building Authority meeting. We are happy to have you here, whether you're joining in person or online. We hope you'll continue to participate in whichever manner you feel most comfortable. We have Scout Troop 34 here with us today to lead the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you for joining us, and Troop 34, we look to you for our next steps.
Color Guard, forward march. Color Guard, present the colors. Color guard, post the colors. May the audience please recite the Pledge of Allegiance with us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Color guard dismiss. The audience may now be seated.
Oh, sorry. I need to go back and get my...
All right. This brings us to the local business authority consent portion of our agenda. I'll look for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Excellent. It's been moved by Councilmember Dugan and seconded by Councilmember Petro. Is there any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? That passes with Councilmember Pui and Councilmember Wharton absent. All right, that moves us to conclude our local, to conclude our local building authority meeting. I will now ask for a motion to adjourn as the local building authority and to convene as the Salt Lake City Council. I'll look for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Excellent. It's been moved by Councilmember Petro and seconded by Councilmember Dugan. Is there any discussion? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? That passes unanimously with Councilmember Pui and Councilmember Wharton absent. We are now convened as the body of the Salt Lake City Council. Thank you again to everyone for joining us tonight. Before we move through the agenda, I want to quickly go through registration information and our rules and standards for public meetings. We welcome everyone, and the council's goal is to make the meetings a place where people feel safe and comfortable participating in their government. We invite everyone to help us make this a welcoming space. A respectful and safe environment allows us to conduct the meeting in an orderly and efficient way. Our most basic rule is that any action that causes a disruption to the ability to conduct the meeting or any safety concerns involving threats or unprotected speech are not allowed. These actions or comments may result in removal from the meeting. As a reminder of our public comment registration process, individuals may register to comment on scheduled public hearing items up until the hearing is closed. For the general comment section, we will accept signups until 7:30 p.m. The general comment section is limited to a maximum of 1 hour and will only include commenters who register before 7:30. So if you're here to give general comments, please sign up, and remember that it is possible not everyone who signs up may be able to speak. That brings us to item D2. The Youth City Government will present the Youth State of the City Address. We always welcome the Youth City Government students who will be our future leaders. We have students here with us today participating in the Youth State of the City Address. Please state your name before you speak so we know who you are. And you're welcome to begin.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Tomas Cruz Villalbazo. I'm one of the teen instructors that oversees Youth City Government, and I'm happy to share a short overview of Youth City Government. Throughout our school year, YCG students actively engaged with policymakers and community stakeholders to ensure that youth perspectives are represented in policy discussions. Through these interactions, students develop essential leadership skills, gain firsthand experience in civic engagement, and played a direct role in shaping policies that impact their communities. Today, we'll be hearing from 5 Youth City Government students who will be sharing their experience from this school year. Let's welcome our first speaker.
Hi, my name is Fatma Özkanlar. I'm a senior at East High School, District 6. I can't even begin to explain how happy and grateful I am to be a part of Youth City Government. Being a member of Youth City Government has been such a meaningful experience, and it truly added so much to my life. Honestly, I wish I wasn't reading this from a piece of paper. I'd much rather speak freely, looking at you in the eyes and letting my expressions tell the story too. But since I only moved from Turkey, the country you might know as Turkey, last year, I still face some challenges with English. That's why I thought I might not be able to fully express myself if I spoke without notes. I'd like to share a little about how and why I joined Youth City Government. Back in Turkey, I was a very social person. I participated in many clubs and activities and loved being involved in my community. When I moved to the United States, I was nervous that I might lose a part of myself. Everything was new, the place, the people, and of course the language. I worried that not speaking perfect English would stop me from connecting with others. But I didn't let those fears stop me. I believe that there are 4 basic steps to overcoming challenges and finding success. First, wanting it. I truly wanted to be a part of something meaningful, again, like I was back home. Believing in yourself. I had to believe I could do it even if I wasn't sure how. Knowing your needs. This step is so important. Before you can fully believe in yourself, you have to understand what support or skills you still need. Taking action. Nothing changes unless you take the first step. When I heard about Youth City Government, I knew I wanted to join. I also knew I had a lot to learn, especially about communicating in English. I asked myself, will people understand me? Will I understand them? What if those questions I applied? Wait, that's wrong. Even with those questions, I applied. Not long after, I got the amazing news. I was officially accepted to the Youth City Government. YCG's purpose is to help young people grow into strong, capable leaders by challenging them to face their fears and build on their strengths. That's exactly what it has done for me. I never forgot this experience, the people I've met, and the supportive team that believed in me every step of the way. Thank you so much.
Hello there. My name is Louise Pedersen. I'm an 11th grader at Highland High School, and I live in District 4. I'm incredibly grateful to be here today to share my experience as a member of Youth City Government this year. And what I've appreciated most this year is being part of projects that focus on supporting and uplifting other young people in my community. So one of the most meaningful experiences was this past November when Youth City Government helped organize and facilitate the Student Unity Summit to eradicate hate. At the summit, we worked alongside other students to develop programs aimed at addressing hate-motivated violence and bullying in our schools. It was an incredibly powerful event, and not only because of the ideas we generated, but also because it created space for students to share their personal stories and learn from community leaders who have been doing this work for a long time. What stood out to me personally was seeing just how ready young people are to create change. The passion and potential and often the ability are there, but what's missing for these young people are the tools, the access, and the connections. And that's what events like the Eradicate Hate Summit, that's what programs like Youth City Government provide. It empowers youth to engage with real issues directly and gives us the chance to sit at the table with city leaders and elected officials. Throughout the year, we've had the opportunity to speak with policymakers and learn how the legislative process works. And that experience was totally transformative for me. I remember how inspiring it was to talk with representatives, local officials, and advocacy groups, which gave me a new sense of possibility and a deeper understanding of how change happens in my state. But I've also experienced frustration. During the legislative session, I was disillusioned and disheartened by the passing of certain anti-LGBTQ+ bills, particularly the ban on pride flags in schools and government buildings. Policies like this don't just silence expression, they send a harmful message that queer people, including queer kids, don't belong in these spaces. It's really painful to witness, and it motivates me to try to push for better. And that's why one of Youth City Government's final projects for this year has been especially meaningful to me. We've started drafting a policy proposal to implement an inclusive anti-bullying policy in our city, one that specifically protects LGBTQ+ youth in youth spaces. LGBTQ+ youth are at a disproportionately high risk for bullying and mental health challenges, and inclusive policies have been proven to foster safer, more supportive environments where everyone can thrive. We're proud to be working on this proposal and even more excited to continue this work beyond our time in Youth City Government, making our city and our state a safer place for all young people. And this isn't just possible, it's necessary. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak today.
Hello, my name is Christina Wu. I'm a senior at Skyline High School, and I live in District 5. First off, this is my first year in Youth City Government, and it's been an incredible opportunity. I wish I had found out about it sooner. I have been able to use my voice, contribute to improving our community, and learn more about how our city functions and how legislation directly affects it. Today, I'd like to speak about public transportation. First, I want to express my concerns over the recent passage of SB 195, Transportation Amendments. From my perspective, this legislation limits the city's ability to plan and manage its transportation systems. I hope that in the future, this bill is either repealed or its impact is minimized so that our city can retain more autonomy in shaping our transportation infrastructure. Second, I'd like to address the stigma around using public transportation, especially among youth. Many students avoid it because of safety concerns, cleanliness, or simple unfamiliarity. I've taken the bus a few times alone, and I find it to be a valuable resource, but I also understand the hesitation around it. A big factor is how the environment around us impacts our comfort and perception. Many bus stops are marked by just a sign: no shelter, no lighting, no seating. It may seem minor, but something as simple as a bus stop shelter can make a huge difference, especially in bad weather or in unfamiliar neighborhoods. Another challenge is how difficult it can be to navigate public transportation without prior experience. First-time riders often don't know how the system works, where to get on or off, how to read a schedule, or what to do when they miss their bus stop. Improving maps at bus stops or making real-time schedules and routes more accessible will make a huge difference and encourage more people, especially youth, to give public transportation a try. Finally, I want to thank you for the work that you've done to improve Salt Lake City's transportation system. Compared to many other cities, we're doing great things. Even though I don't attend school in the Salt Lake City School District, I was really happy to see that students there can ride UTA for free with their student ID. That's a huge step in making public transportation more accessible, and I hope that similar programs around the state can be adopted. Thank you for allowing me to speak with you today.
My name is Jemedia Rivuzimana, but I go by Medi. I'm a senior at East High School, and I represent District 2. This is my first year in YCG. Mahatma Gandhi once said, "The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others." I wish more of my teenagers would take into consideration the deep meaning of this quote, because in a world that's in constant change and uncertainty, it reminds us that one of the most powerful ways to find meaning is by helping others. The first YCG activity that I participated in was a service project at Volunteers of America Youth Resource Center. We helped organize holiday gifts for youth staying at the facility, and from that moment, I felt an immediate connection to my YCG members. I was inspired by all the different projects they were involved in. I learned about the new volunteer opportunities that are available to high school students such as I am, and learned of a legendary sloughing technique that I still haven't used yet. Martin Luther King once said, "Life's most urgent question is, what are you doing for others?" Since 2002, YCG has partnered with Salt Lake City Mayor's Office, the City Council Office, and the Utah Food Bank for the annual MLK Day of Service project. This collaboration sheds light on food insecurity in our community and across the nation. Leading up to the event, we, as YCG, worked together to fund for the Utah Food Bank. This year, we raised more than $2,000, which is enough to provide 10,000 meals, which can feed a family of 4 for about 896 days. Sorry, not years. It's a humble reminder that 1 in 6 children in Utah face insecurity and may not know where their next meal is coming from. Through our efforts and service, we aim to be part of the solution. Being in YCG has helped me grow, not just as a leader and a student, but also as a brother and as a son. It's through experiences like this that I've been inspired to give back in my own way. I work at a fast food restaurant where I earn just above the minimum wage. But with every paycheck, I donate 5% to a local cause. It may not seem like much, but with organizations like the Utah Food Bank, where $1 can provide up to $7 worth of a meal, even small donations can make a big difference. As the saying goes, when you're in the service of your fellow beings, you're only in the service of your God. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ariana Brashon Bridges. I am a junior at Highland High School in District 7, and this is my first year participating in U City government. Before joining U City government, I didn't know much about politics or how the government works. I was aware that there were problems in our country and in our government, but the constant news of changing laws and tragic events often felt overwhelming. As a young person, I didn't think I had the power or the tools to make a difference, so I tuned it out. Now I'm learning that even as a student, I do have a voice, and through U City government, I'm figuring out how to use it. I decided I wanted to better understand politics and how the government functions within my community. The summer before my junior year, I joined a community-based internship called YouThWorks. Through that experience, I developed job skills and participated in community service projects. Toward the end of the program, I was introduced to U City government, a space where teens explore local and state issues and directly involved in civic engagement and service. This was the perfect opportunity to dive deeper into how our government works and to become more connected with my community. Through YCG, I've had endless opportunities to learn and lead. We've held meetings to plan initiatives, participate in service projects like the MLK Day of Service, and help organize events like the Student Unity Summit to eradicate hate. I've even learned about proposed bills and how they can impact our lives. Being part of YCG has helped me expand my understanding of politics and stay more informed about what's happening around me. Most importantly, I've realized that we do have the power to create change, and as youth, our voice matters. And if we want to shape the future, we have to start now. Knowledge gives us the ability to imagine the future we want, not just for ourselves, but our families and communities. The best thing we can do is get involved, understand the issues that matter to us, and take action. Because at the end of the day, we get to decide what our future looks like. Thank you.
Thank you for your thoughtful and for your inspiring messages. I know many of the pieces resonated with me, and I applaud my fellow council members for following our rules of decorum and not shouting out and snapping and clapping during many of the statements you've made. Tonight, I also want to make sure we take a moment to thank and honor Angela Romero and the U City staff who work with and mentor our YCG students. We're so grateful that you create spaces that are safe for all of our students to come and have a voice, not just to learn about city government, but also to participate, and that you create those experiences in a way that are not only meaningful, but as you can see tonight, are changing lives. Would you like to come up and say a few words?
I don't want to take credit for everything because if I didn't have our 2 part-time staff and Carlos, who is in charge of another project but fills in for me when I'm up at the legislature, I just couldn't do what I can do. So I want Carlos Palacina to stand up, and Liz Chavez and Tomas. We're a team, and what we do is we build the community around the students. And so everything you heard today is the students. We just provide them with an avenue to address their leadership abilities. And I think the one thing that stands out in my mind the most is one of our students from Highland High School had concerns about water, and she saw that the speaker had said we weren't going to do any more water policy. And so she was telling me about that. I'm like, well, let's set up a meeting with him and talk about that. And so the first week of the session, the students met with the speaker, and they had some really honest conversations with him about water policy, about homelessness, and their concerns about trans youth being blamed for everything. And he had to take a step back when he heard that because he was looking at somebody who these policies impact. All of these students had something to say, and I think that was a really important moment for them to know that we may not always agree with people, but it's important to have those honest conversations because sometimes you can change people's minds. Sometimes you can't, but I think people need to hear more of that from the people that the laws we make and how they impact them. So I'm very proud of them. And I have certificates for them. And I don't know if we can take a picture with them with all of you. That'd be great too.
You bet. Do we want to pass out the certificates and then take the photo? What makes the most sense? Okay.
Can we do point of personal privilege first? Or should we do that after?
Let's do that after. That way we can get a photo with everyone.
Okay.
And then we'll turn it over to the council members.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. This. Yes. I can't see you. Squishing this way. Okay. Sorry. Hey, you guys can come. Parents, please come. Let me just get a couple and then you guys can take over. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Parents, go ahead. All right. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Work it, work it. Thank you.
But no, it wasn't.
I thought it was your footballing.
Huh?
I thought it was your football playing.
Oh no, it's probably because I watched the game.
Oh, is it just me? Oh, I don't know. Are other people?
All right, we will start with Councilmember Wharton for a personal moment of privilege.
Okay, well, thank you. I just want to say that the second speaker, was it Louise? Thank you for bringing up what you did about belonging and everybody belonging in government spaces, especially LGBTQ people. I don't know if you know, but, and sadly 2 of them are joining us virtually, but we have a majority queer council. And so I want you to know that that you and anybody else that wants to be in government, you do belong in these spaces, belong in these spaces someday. And so I really hope that you will, and that goes for the first speaker as well. We have people on this council that weren't born in this country and that speak with an accent, and they belong in these spaces too. And so I hope that you won't be deterred by those kinds of messages, because you belong up in those spaces too. And so I hope you'll think about running for office someday. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other council members?
I'd like to. Thanks. I just want to speak to our youth. One, it's so inspiring to hear from you. I'm the youngest council member currently serving on this cohort. And as somebody that was 26, believe it or not, when I ran for office, it was so difficult to imagine someone of my age. And I look at all of you and I'm inspired because I look at our future leaders and our future council members and legislators, to echo some of the sentiments of Councilmember Wharton. So I hope you continue to bring this passion to every space you may go, whether it's the public sector or the private sector, but we need innovative thought leaders like yourselves pushing and working at the fringes of policymaking. So thank you. You keep the fire lit inside of me, and I'm so, so grateful I can be your council member.
Excellent. Thank you. And thank you for being here. Okay, that brings us to the public hearing section of our agenda. These are specific proposals before the council that require a public hearing. Your comments should pertain to the hearing item, and if you go off topic, we'll ask you to stop your comment. Our meeting rules apply to hearing comments as well. Please avoid disruptions or threats, or we will ask a staff member to assist you out of the meeting. Also a reminder, comments that include profanity, personal attacks, intimidation, or discriminatory language are not persuasive or compelling to the council. They are not helpful in creating a respectful or safe environment. To sign up to comment on any of the hearing items, please register online or turn in a comment card to the in-person staff over by the main door. We accept sign-ups until the hearing item is closed. We will be calling the names in order of sign-up. If you're on Zoom, please unmute your mic when your name is called. Each person will have 2 minutes. Please raise your hand in the room or in Zoom for staff assistance. If you're having technical issues in Zoom, our staff member Daffodil can assist you. If you reach the 2-minute mark, the host will announce time and your microphone will be muted. If you're unable to finish your comment, please share the rest via email, mail, or call our office. Contact information is listed at slccouncil.com. If you have a handout for the council, please notify council staff who will assist you with handing it out. With that, our first public hearing is for item E1 for an ordinance regarding Yale Crest Upper Yale Local Historic District. Before we begin taking comments, I will turn the time over to Nick Tarbett, Council Deputy Director, to give a short introduction.
This proposal would create the Upper Yale Local Historic District for properties on Yale Avenue between 1800 and 1900 East in Council District 6.
Thank you, Nick. Taylor, please start with our first public comment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have 4 people registered to speak to this item. The first will be Janet Hemming, followed by Lynn Pershing, and then Art Swindle. Janet is here in person.
Can I make a personal comment before the clock starts? I was so impressed with these young people. And I just think it's great that who's ever responsible for this programming, the mayor and Angela, congratulate you for doing this. And I just think it's wonderful, and I wish them well. So if we can start the clock now. Mayor Mendenhall, distinguished council members, I support the City Council designating Yale Avenue between 1800 and 1900 East as a local historic district. This block of homes captures an era in Salt Lake's history, dating back to the 1920s and 1930s. Beyond the architectural significance of the area, this application represents one of the best examples of local citizens petitioning their elected officials to act, not only on their behalf, but unselfishly for their future generations. I hope you will weigh your vote on this matter and take that into consideration. Last year, Chris Jensen, a specialist in historic preservation, spoke to the Yellcrest Neighborhood Council. He gave us wise advice about why historic preservation is important to urban cities. Historic places tell a story about a community's identity, something, he said, that's worth holding on to. Erasing the past means we lose a connection with history and those who shaped it. This loss makes us more insular, less curious, and yes, in some cases, even more self-centered in our own moment in time. Losing our historic past goes against the mantra of inclusion, and it goes against the Council's own support for naturally occurring affordable housing. I urge you to vote yes, and I think I forgot to say my name. It's Jan Hemming. I'm a Yellcrest resident. Thank you.
Lynn Pershing.
Lynn Pershing, followed by Art Swindle, and then Jim Webster.
Lynn Pershing, Yellcrest, 84108. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I strongly support designation of Upper Yale Heights as a local historic district. Wallace Stegner said and wrote, "If you don't know where you're from, you don't know where you're going." Profound words from a profound writer. Our cultural heritage is important to shaping our city's future. The 1800 block of Yale Avenue has a rich history of architecture and formal property owners who shaped the identity, growth, and development, not just our city, but our state and the Intermountain West. It's a close-knit community, friendly neighbors, and a well-maintained street in our community with varied house architecture, sizes, and real estate prices. That all contributes to a warm sense of place, a safe place, with walkable, large, tree-lined, shady sidewalks beneficial to both residents, guests, pets, as well as cyclists and motorists. 92% of the homes on this block are historically contributing. 81% of the returned ballots from property owners supported designation of this area as a local historic district, exceeding the very high standards required of 66.6%. I strongly urge you to vote in support of this grassroots effort that was created and led by the property owners on this street to designate themselves as Upper Yale Heights Local Historic District. Thank you.
Next will be Art Swindle, followed by Jim Webster. Art is here in person.
Thank you. Art Swindle. I live on Yale Avenue, the street that's being proposed for historic designation, and there's a strong sense among the neighbors that we really want this to happen. We see what's happened on the two streets that border us, Herbert Avenue and Harvard Avenue. Over the last 10 years, we've had 22 homes torn down and rebuilt. And on our street, there's only one house that's basically has been redone. Those people want the historic district as well. So thank you. We hope you'll support our efforts. It's been a long process so far, but well worth it if we can get this proposal through and the designation as such. Thank you.
And next will be Jim Webster, who's here in person.
My name is Jim Webster. I have been living in the Yellcrest area since 1976. Prior to that, I was a PhD candidate at Harvard University in architectural history and completed those studies. I taught architectural history at Utah State University. I came to Salt Lake with the idea of working with architectural preservation, and I've done that to some extent, not as much as I'd like. I very much support this initiative. I think it is good. I wish that it would be more predominant in my neighborhood, especially on my own street. But there are those who feel like it's infringement on their, I don't know what it would be, First Amendment or whatever. But I think that's a very important thing. As many of you know, I'm the guy that submitted the CIP grant for the restoration and preservation of the WPA walls in Miller Park. That was 8.5 years ago. I would like to see that project to come to fruition as well. So I'm very much in support of anything that has to do with architectural preservation and the preservation of a cultural history initiated by the man behind us, Brigham Young. Thank you very much for your time.
That was the final registered commenter for this item.
Thank you to everyone who came to comment this evening. I'll look for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that the council close the public hearing and adopt the ordinance.
Second.
Okay. It's been moved by Councilmember Dugan and seconded by Councilmember Lopez Chavez. Is there any discussion to the motion?
Madam Chair.
Yes, please, Councilmember Mono.
Thank you. I am not yet ready to vote yes on this. I think I just still have some concerns. I voiced them previously. So I would like another week to think about it and defer action. But if the council's ready to move forward without me, then I think that's fine as well.
So Councilmember Mono, I think your opportunity would be to propose a substitute motion if you would like. Or we can move forward with the existing motion.
I think it's okay to move forward with the existing motion.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, any other comments? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay, so that passes 5-1 with Councilmember Mono opposed and Councilmember Pui absent. All right, our next item is E2 for an ordinance permitting outdoor theaters in commercial districts. Before we begin taking comments, I'll turn the time over again to Nick Tarbick, Council Deputy Director, to give a short introduction.
Thank you. In May 2024, the council initiated a text amendment to allow outdoor live performances within the general commercial zoning district. This proposal would permit live performance theaters, either indoor or outdoor.
Great, thank you, Nick. Taylor, please start with our first public comment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We do not have anyone registered to speak to this item.
Okay, I'll look for a motion.
Chair, I move that the council close the public hearing and adopt the ordinance.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved by Councilmember Lopez Chavez and seconded by Councilmember Petro. Is there any discussion to the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously with Councilmember Pui absent. Our next item is E3 for an ordinance of zoning map amendment at approximately 273 East and 800 South. Before we begin taking comments, I will turn it over again to Nick Tarbick, Council Deputy Director, to give a short introduction.
Thank you. This proposal would rezone the property from the current institutional zoning district to RMF 45. First Step House owns the property, and its stated its objective is to construct a deeply affordable housing development on the property.
Great, thank you, Nick. Taylor, please start with our first public comment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have 10 people registered to speak to this item. The first will be Michaela Sosin, followed by Mackenzie Marcius, and then Jenny Starley. Michaela, you may now unmute.
I'm the regional manager over River Rock Apartments, which is adjacent to this proposed project. I'm here to speak against the proposed zoning map. I'm asking you to vote no to this project, not because I oppose helping people in recovery, but because the location is simply not safe or appropriate. This neighborhood already struggles with open drug use and is designated a crime spot by SLC PD in 2023. We've made a real progress at River Rock and the surrounding neighborhoods, and crime and property damage are down. This project risks undoing all of that. It would move us backwards. Central City already houses a large share of the region's low-income housing and behavioral health issues. Adding more here deepens the concentration of poverty, which research shows can harm both existing and new residents. River Rock alone spends $31,000 every month on 24/7 security just to improve its safety. If this project is approved, it must include on-site security to help manage the impact and avoid placing even more strain on the neighbors and already stretched public safety resources. In the past 5 months alone, SLCPD responded to River Rock more than 200 times. This is River Rock's address alone and not the neighboring together. This project will strain police resources even further, add new challenges, and developers may not be prepared for. Instead of increasing these burdens, let's consider retail or mixed-use development, which is a valuable site, could bring more services, jobs, and walkability to the area. Please protect the progress we've made in the neighborhood. This rezoning isn't right for this neighborhood or the people it's intended to help. Thank you.
Next will be Mackenzie Macias, followed by Jenny Starley, and then Rihanna Riggs. Mackenzie, you may now unmute.
Good evening. My name is Mackenzie. I'm here today not just as a worker of River Rock Apartments, but as someone who sees the bigger picture of what's happening in our downtown community. Over the past few years, we've watched downtown face a growing crisis, rising crime, open drug use, and a surge in transient activity. It's not isolated to one complex or one block. It's becoming the norm, and it's affecting the quality of life for everyone who lives and works in this city. We all want growth. We all want to see this city thrive, but growth has to be thoughtful. It has to be responsible, and right now, I don't believe adding another large, low-income housing development in this already fragile area is the right move. We are dealing with a system that's already stretched to its limits. Under-resourced law enforcement, overloaded social services, and lack of real long-term solutions for homelessness and addiction. Introducing another high-density property without first addressing these deep-rooted problems will only make things worse. It's not just about who lives in these buildings, it's about what support or lack of support surrounds them. I'm not speaking out to attack low-income housing. Affordable housing is critical, but when we continue stacking vulnerable populations in areas already overwhelmed by crime and instability without proper planning or community investment, we're setting everyone up to fail, both new residents and current ones. We need to hit pause and ask ourselves some serious questions. Have we fixed what's already broken? Are we creating a safe, sustainable neighborhood? Or are we just shifting problems from one corner of the city to another? I urge you to consider the long-term impact on this community, on downtown, and on the people trying to live decent lives in the middle of it all. Let's address what's in front of us before we add more to it. I vote against this project on 273 East, 800 South.
Next will be Jenny Starley, followed by Rihanna Riggs, and then Harold Woodruff. Jenny is here in person.
Can you hear me? Good evening, council members. My name is Jenny Starley, and I am a resident of the Central City neighborhood. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I want to be clear, I fully support low and deeply low affordable housing. I moved to this neighborhood after living in the suburbs in Utah County for over 20 years because I just craved diversity and wanted to be around different social classes and different people. So here I am talking to you about this issue today because I moved here because of its diversity, but I've also spent 20 years in local government and 6 years in public health. In addition, many dozens of volunteer opportunities with all sorts of vulnerable populations over the past 25 years. So I know that where we build matters. Clustering low-income housing in just a few areas, like the already overloaded 700 to 800 South corridor, leads to worse outcomes, poorer health, fewer opportunities, and long-term inequities. This rezone would add density in an already area, in a housing area that has 6 deeply affordable projects, deeply housing affordable projects, a shelter, several health clinics, and a methadone center, all within a 4-block radius. This is no longer equity, this is concentration, and this is wrong because of the effects of social determinants of health it has on our residents in that area. Supporting this rezone risks worsening conditions for both current and future residents as defined by the social determinants of health, and denying it gives you the opportunity to demand a more balanced, long-term, city-wide strategy that benefits everyone. Thank you for your time and for your leadership.
Next will be Rihanna Riggs, followed by Harold Woodruff, and then Sean McMillan. Rihanna's here in person.
Can you hear me? Sorry, I gotta get my notes ready. Good evening, council members. My name is Rihanna Riggs, and I serve on the executive board of the Central City Neighborhood Council. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you tonight regarding the proposed rezone at 273 East, 800 South. The CCNC board formally opposes this rezone from institutional to RMF 45 for the First Step project. While we recognize and support the city's commitment to providing permanent supportive housing and homeless services, we have significant concerns about the implications of this specific proposal on our community and its residents. Central City hosts a disproportionate share of service providers, including multiple deeply affordable housing complexes, a homeless resource center, a methadone clinic, and several health clinics, all within a concentrated area. Introducing an additional permanent supportive housing project here exacerbates the existing overconcentration, placing undue strain on neighborhood resources and social infrastructure. The city's consolidated plan explicitly calls for the dispersal of affordable housing to avoid neighborhoods of concentrated disadvantage. This proposal directly contradicts that policy. Public transportation and services exist throughout the city. There is no policy, planning, or practical reason to place this burden so heavily on one already impacted area. We urge the City Council to consider a more equitable distribution of affordable housing and supportive services across all neighborhoods in Salt Lake City. By doing so, we can prevent the negative consequences associated with overconcentration and ensure that all communities share in the responsibility and benefits of supporting vulnerable populations. In closing, the CCNC respectfully requests that the Council deny the proposed rezone. Approving this rezone would reflect a decision to concentrate disadvantage rather than disrupt it. We urge you to vote no on this proposal and instead support a citywide strategy that distributes affordable housing fairly and equitably across all districts. Thank you for your time and dedication to our city.
Next will be Harold Woodruff, followed by Sean McMillan, and then Kathy Fleischner. Harold is here in person.
Hello, council members, mayor. Thank you for considering our application. I'm Harold Woodruff, the applicant representing First Step House. I'm also a property owner. I own property within a half block of this where my office is located. You're all familiar with the project, but since we last met with the City Council, we've worked through a development agreement which is ready to be signed. It focused on security, safety, fencing, cameras, signage, and other things just to make the site safer. This project will have 24-hour management on site. One of the benefits of this site is we hope that in the near future there's actually a hospital built 2 blocks away, which further enhances the possibility of services for clients. We believe, and I believe, this is a great project for our neighborhood. It will certainly clean up an area that has been a haven for the homeless, and I'd ask you to approve it. Thank you very much.
Next will be Sean McMillan, followed by Kathy Faulkner, and then Celeste Ash Roberts. Sean is here in person.
Hello, good evening, and thank you for allowing us some time to speak. I'm Sean McMillan. I'm the Executive Director of First Step House. I was also moved, by the way, by the students earlier. The thing that I would want to add here is that this is a very vulnerable population that struggles with homelessness. They do. The housing affordability issue that we have in our city and in our state has aggravated that. We're seeing more homeless in our communities because of this affordability issue. Something to keep in mind about this population, though, is that because of long histories of serious mental illness, other conditions, comorbid health problems, their lifespans are 25 years shorter than the general population. There's a reason that the homeless concentrate in downtown Salt Lake City. They have access to services. 4th Street, First Step House, Odyssey House, House of Hope, the hospital, the Intermountain Hospital, University Hospital, the Huntsman Institute. All of those things are in the city. Those are all things that these folks access. These are all things that these folks need to be able to access, and sometimes quite quickly. And so while I agree as a citizen of Salt Lake City that we need to have a larger conversation about siting of these kinds of projects, we also need to keep those things in mind. The services that this population needs to access, and how can we facilitate that as well? I, of course, support this project. A reason that we bought this piece of property is we really hope that there's going to be a hospital 2 blocks down the street, so that our folks have access to the health care that they need. With that, I'll end my comments. Thank you.
Next will be Brianna Bunabos, followed by Nisha Burke. Brianna is here in person.
So Taylor, I believe that individual was here for a different item. Can we move to the next public commenter?
Next will be Nisha Burke. Nisha, you may now unmute.
Thank you. This is Nisha Burke. I'm a resident adjacent to the property that we are speaking about here. And I believe all of us that are attending this meeting acknowledge that security of the neighborhood is of paramount concern for everyone involved. There's currently a 4-foot to 6-foot deep pit that's been dug where the previous building stood. Unfortunately, there's inadequate plastic fencing guarding the pit with gaps underneath that a child could very easily get under. There are parts of the fencing that's blown down or pulled down and just very easily taken down. There are gates that are inadequate to resist access to the area. There are lights that have been turned off to accommodate the construction work and the demolition work, but those lights have not been turned back on despite the demolition being completed. First Step House, Chris and Scott, I think this is a good opportunity to demonstrate your commitment to the security of the neighborhood. But unfortunately, I'm not seeing any security measures being put in place to protect our vulnerable and at-risk and children members of our neighborhood, even at this stage. So based on the safety of the site immediately upon taking control of it, I would ask that the council consider not approving this based on future and current safety concerns of the site. Images have been sent to the council, and I'm happy to send Scott and Harold images to you as well so that you can see these concerns that we're having immediately with the site. Thank you.
That was the final registered commenter for the site.
Great, thank you, Taylor. I appreciate everybody being willing to make comments about this item. Council, I am looking for a motion. Gotta need someone.
I move that the council close the public hearing and defer action to a future council meeting.
Sorry, did you,
Defer. Close and defer. I'm open to a friendly amendment.
Madam Chair.
I would like to offer a friendly amendment that we close and approve tonight. It's my understanding that there would be some federal funding that's pretty critical to the success of the project. wrong? I am not wrong. So I appreciate the comments that we've heard tonight. But I also think that with this
I'm going to pause you real quick. I just need an
The motion and-
acceptance of the friendly amendment and
Yes.
then
I
a
accept.
second. Okay. All right. And then a second?
Second.
Okay, great. Go back to Councilmember Wharton.
So just to, I appreciate the comments that that we've heard tonight, and definitely understand those concerns. I do think, though, that if you look at the success that we've seen from First Step House and some of their other projects and the commitment that they have to improving the neighborhood, I think that they actually have made a lot of improvements to the neighborhood in their other locations. And with regard to the timing, I think being able to access those federal funds to ensure that this project is the success that we all want it to be is pretty critical. So that's why I would normally I would support deferring action, but in this instance, I think that we need to move forward tonight with a affirmative vote.
Thank you. Councilmember Lopez Chavez.
Thank you. And I appreciate First Step House coming to speak, as well as the rest of the residents in Central City. This project is obviously located in District 4. So although I fully support First Steps House mission to deliver critical addiction treatment and housing services in Salt Lake City, just as I mentioned in our work session briefings, I am going to oppose this RMF 45 rezone at the 273 East, 800 South location because, one, I believe it risks altering Central City's neighborhood character in an already overburdened part of District 4 that lacks the local resources to keep and maintain safety for the existing housing, affordable housing, permanent supportive housing, and homeless resource centers that were already echoed today in that sentiment. So I really welcome the open dialogue, and I urge my colleagues for a policy discussion related to promoting equitable distribution of housing across all Salt Lake City districts, rather than just concentrating it in the areas that are historically tied to service providers. Again, we have mentioned many times since I joined this council that we are aiming to attract and retain families in downtown and specifically in the Central City neighborhood. And to do that, we need to prioritize the health, safety, and well-being of working class residents while supporting the existing housing and housing organizations in District 4. So I'm grateful that my colleagues and First Step House heard my concerns. If this is getting approved tonight, to approve a development agreement that emphasizes the safety and proximity to these neighborhoods. But I want to be very clear that I will no longer be voting to rezone and to support deeply affordable or permanent supportive housing in District 4 until we adopt a policy that better informs how we place and distribute these type of housing apparatuses and services across all districts. It's unfair to District 4 and to other districts in our city that are encumbered with the responsibility of maintaining, preserving, and creating long-term safety in areas where we have promised and committed safety to otherwise deteriorating permanent supportive places of belonging. And so again, I just want to reiterate, thank you for the time, Chair.
Thank you. We're going to go online to Councilmember Mono, and then we'll come back to Councilmember Petra.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to be supporting this motion. I have had the opportunity to tour First Step House, and I just want to emphasize that these really are this is one of the nonprofits that is most successfully helping people exit homelessness and enter secure, stable, and safe housing. And so the comments about, as we as a city try and battle the homelessness epidemic that we're facing, this is the solution, and so I'm going to be supporting it. I do think it's worth having a conversation about the concentration of these services. I just want to remind the council, however, that this is a private nonprofit that's purchased land and is asking to build a facility there. And though we would love all things to be equitably distributed throughout the city. When it's private development, we don't always get the chance. And so us saying we're not going to approve any more deeply affordable housing in one district until there's an equal number in other districts would be like saying we're not going to let you build another grocery store in district such and such until we have the same number of grocery stores in another district. So though it's good for us to have that conversation, and I'm open to that, I just want to remind us that we're not actually choosing these sites, and so it's the private nonprofits that are choosing the locations and buying the land, and so to some degree we don't actually have the control over that outcome of that.
Thank you, Councilmember Mono. Councilmember Petro?
I remember a few months ago, this same provider was asking for permission to build in the North Temple corridor, arguably the most famous location for detriments and concentration of things that we want to mitigate. And I think we have to get away from the conversation about the quality of the service. I actually believe First Step House is exemplary. And what they provide, I actually think if I ask you to build a fence, you're going to do it, and I trust you above other providers. I have Carol Hollowell in my district. I trust her when she comes in to do stuff. I have other providers who I want to ride out of town on a rail because they don't protect my neighbors. There is an element here that I don't know how to solve, which is that general economics compounds the historical inequities that we inherit. So I'll be doing a campaign kickoff in the same physical location that I did my last one, but it will be a completely different ownership and business because District 1 businesses cannot stay where they are because of the concentration of deeply affordable houses. We are creating schools that are stressed out because there are families working multiple jobs without the ability to support the teachers. We are creating food deserts because it doesn't pencil for grocery stores to be in one place. But I'm also a nonprofit professional, and you all are moving mountains to try to meet the most urgent demand and buy land, which, I mean, who can do that right now? It's amazing that you've even been able to do that. Thank you for staying true to your mission and pushing even in unlikely circumstances. This is a pernicious problem. We don't have enough in the general fund and our enterprise funds combined to fix this. I don't know what the answer is. I think the right thing is what you were just saying. We have to keep pointing to it. I cannot keep, every year when we do our economic development videos at the holidays, I don't have places to go because I am where you send people when they have nothing to give. If we want the city to be different, we're eventually going to have to do different. I don't know how to funnel money to the people who are here. I do know that the next time I talk about things like affordable housing incentives, if the people who just got designated a historical area come to me again and tell me how I'm imperiling them, I have less tolerance to hear it. That's not okay. They have economics protecting them from every kind of discomfort, while other places like your neighbors and mine continuously have to worry. This is not a qualitative statement about First Step House, and I don't know how to separate the two. And I really want the neighbors who came to speak to understand that I'm going to be voting for this because it's necessary, not to undermine your concerns. I am going to ask if there's a way to get a development agreement for safety mechanisms that promote the consideration of the neighbors. But it's because we're in this terrible bind, in this necessary evil of these property values and the repetitive historical economic protections afforded to some people and the disposable nature of other parts of the city. I don't know how to separate the two, and I'm sorry to the neighbors who took their time to comment, who feel like they'll be disregarded by this. You are allowed to text me to curse me out if you find cigarette butts in your flower beds. I will happily buy you a cup of coffee and hear your frustration. I'm doing it for all of District 1 right now. We've got the Jordan River Trail. This is what I do professionally now. But when I look at the competing crises we have, I have to take a trusted provider and give them an opportunity. I do want to work with you on a strategy to stop putting us on the crosshairs every time something needs to be done.
Thank you. Councilmember Dugan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I appreciate all the comments from the residents, from First Step Housing and the other council members. And I really appreciate Councilmember Romano's comments, and I will just echo Councilmember Romano's comments. I've walked through this First Step Housing. I've talked to the leadership there. I've been through the area, and I drive by that their current or their facility right now, and it's a wonderful service. And this is an opportunity for a number of people to work their way out of a bad situation and get stability and take them to the next step. So I appreciate all the development, and I appreciate all the conversations, and but I also just want to kind of echo what Councilmember Romano said. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so noting the robust discussion, I'm going to read the motion one more time. The Councilmember Wharton has moved that the council close the public hearing and adopt the ordinance, which includes the condition of a development agreement, and that was seconded by Councilmember Dugan. With comments concluded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
Thank you. So that passes with Councilmember Lopez Chavez in opposition and Councilmember Pui absent. The next item is E4. That is an ordinance for alley vacation near 1409 South Edison Street. Before we begin taking comments, I will turn the time once more to Nick Tarbuck, Council Deputy Director, to give a short introduction.
This proposal would vacate a section of city-owned alley adjacent to properties at 1409 South Edison Street and 1404 South 200 East in District 5. If approved by the council, the alley property would be divided and given to the property owners.
Thank you, Nick. Taylor, please start our first public comment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There are 3 people registered to speak to this item. The first will be Kathy Faulkner, followed by Celesta Ash Roberts, and then Brianna Brunavos. Kathy's here in person.
Thank you. I'm Kathy Faulkner. I'm the owner of the property at 1404 South 200 East. This is not a request for more property. This is a request for safety and security. I've lived in this area for 30 years, and in the 30 years, unfortunately, Salt Lake City does not have the resources or the manpower to manage or support alleyways. It is not cigarette butts we find in our gardens. It is human waste. It is hypodermic needles. We have to endure prostitution at its worst in open areas. The last time we were here, you discussed, well, it's an open walkway. Well, I would invite you to walk there, and I would suggest that you wear boots. Several years ago, I had the opportunity to walk shoulder to shoulder with our mayor, and I appreciate that time, so you're familiar with the area. It has not gotten better, not due to anyone's fault, but due to the fact that our city is being overrun with drug addiction, homelessness, violent crime that I don't really think I deserve to have in my backyard. Both Davis and I are public service individuals. I've devoted my professional life to helping people with social disparities, drug addiction, health addiction, and I don't think it's fair that I have to come home and live in it with my backyard. I plead with this council to give the alley vacant a shot. The alley has been closed for over 35 years. The state closed it. All we're wanting is to come home.
Time. Next will be Celesta Ash Roberts, followed by Brianna Binabos. Celesta's here in person.
State your name. Tell them who you are.
My name is Cluster Ash. I need to tell you that I'm stone deaf, so I don't know what has been said. I'm going to speak for the creatures who can't speak. I understand there's about 50 miles of alleys in the area that we live in, and I appreciate that the state has neither the funds, the personnel, or the ability to maintain the alleys. And I'm an old woman, and I've watched them deteriorate. So what I would like is to provide open spaces where now is garbage, weeds, land that goes untended, unwatered. So I'll speak for the squirrels who live in our big black walnut tree, for our bushes that the birds live in that have berries on, due to the efforts of these people that unwittingly have tended the state's land. So I have nothing else to say except to encourage you to close the alley that is in reference to. Thank you.
And next will be Brianna Binabos, who is here in person.
Thank you. My name is Brianna Binabos, and I wanted to just start by thanking Diana Martinez with Salt Lake City staff. She's been the planner assigned to us throughout this process, and she's just been so incredibly helpful. So regardless of the outcome, I just wanted to express my gratitude for all the city staff that's been involved. They made it a very welcoming process. And thanks, council members, for hearing us. So speaking on behalf of my husband, Davis, and I, we're the property owners at 1409 Edison. You'll see in your packets that the Planning Commission issued a unfavorable recommendation over, the city's own staff with a favorable one. And I guess I just wanted to state that we respectfully disagree with that. And we support the alley vacation on behalf of ourselves, but also the rest of the people who live directly in the alley area. As Kathy mentioned and Celeste mentioned, over the past decade, we've really all taken it upon ourselves to help maintain the area. So, we moved in here, there was a fence already built by the state of Utah. They're the property owner directly to the north. And, I think more than anything, it would just be maintaining the status quo, because we've never seen any official use for the area, including the utility companies. They all access any of those things from the state-owned property to the north. And I think regarding development, as we were talking about this, I guess I disagree with the idea that this is going to be developed in the near future where through alley access would be required, because the state removed 2 of our very large old trees at a great expense to themselves last year because they were impacting that wall. So to us, that would really suggest that they would like to stay put. So with that, thank you for your time, and we hope you'll be supportive of this community effort.
That was the final registered commenter for this item.
Thank you for everyone for being here to share your comments with council. I will look for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that the council close the public hearing and defer action to a future council meeting.
Second.
Excellent. We have a motion moved by Councilmember Mono, seconded by Councilmember Wharton. Any discussion to the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously with Councilmember Poi absent. All right, that brings us to our next item, E5, which is an ordinance for budget amendment number 5 for fiscal year 2024-25. Before we begin taking comments, I'll turn the time over to Jennifer Bruno, Council Executive Director, to give a short introduction.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Budget Amendment number 5 includes several adjustments to the city's fiscal year 25 budget. Amendments happen several times throughout the year to address changing city needs or budget circumstances. This particular budget amendment includes proposals to increase overall overtime budget in the police department funding to continue enhanced cleaning of public spaces, and increased funding for Hive passes to keep up with demand, among other items. Due to an issue with noticing, the recommendation is for the council to continue the public hearing to May 6th, and the public can find more information on this item at tinyurl.com/SLCFY25. Thanks.
Thank you, Jennifer. Taylor, please start with our first public comment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We do not have anyone registered to speak to this item.
All right, thank you. I'll look for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that the council continue the budget amendment number 5 public hearing.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved by Councilmember Dugan, seconded by Councilmember Lopez Chavez. Any discussion to that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously with Councilmember Pui absent. Our final item is item E6, and that is for a grant application, Victim of Crime Act grant, the City Attorney Prosecutor's Office. Before we begin taking comments, I'll turn the time over to Sylvia Richards, Council Policy Analyst, to give a short introduction.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The city periodically applies for grants which fund some city programs. Each grant will receive a public hearing, which allows the council and the public to learn more about the grants. And tonight we have, as you mentioned, the Victim of Crime or VOCA grant. If approved, funds would be used to hire 2 additional grant-funded FTE victim advocate positions and continue 1 existing victim advocate position. Funding would also provide a license for victim services tracking software, as well as emergency funds for victims. Again, these are items for, which were applied for by the city. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Great, thank you, Sylvia. Taylor, please start with our first public comment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We do not have anyone registered to speak.
Excellent. I'll look for a motion.
Chair, I move that the council close the public hearing and refer item B5 to a future consent agenda for action.
Second.
Great. It's been moved by Councilmember Lopez Chavez, seconded by Councilmember Dugan. Any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I just wanted to confirm, should that say E6 instead of B5?
Yes, it should be E6. So we are voting on.
I think that was a typo in the motion sheet.
Thank you.
Oh, my apologies. Okay, so Councilmember Lopez Chavez, do you want to just read the motion
Yes,
one more
I'll
time?
read it again.
Thank
I move that the council close the public hearing and refer item E6 to a future consent agenda for action.
Second.
Excellent. Okay. Motion has been moved by Councilmember Lopez Chavez, seconded by Councilmember Dugan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously with Councilmember Pui absent. All right, that brings us to potential action items for F1. That is for the 2025 Housing and Urban Development Consolidated Plan Update and Timeline. I'll look for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that the council approve a resolution adopting the 2025-2029 5-year consolidated plan, including CDBG, ESG, home, and HOPWA funding, as well as approving the signing of an interlocal cooperation agreement between Salt Lake City and the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
Second.
Great. It's been moved by Councilmember Dugan and seconded by Councilmember Lopez Chavez. Any discussion to the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes unanimously with Councilmember Pui absent. Our final item is F2 for the fiscal year 2025 funding allocations for the 1-year action plan for community development block grant and other federal grants. I will look for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that the council approve a resolution adopting the 2025-2026 annual action plan funding allocations attached to the motion sheet as Exhibit A for the following grant programs: CDBG, ESG, Home, and HOPWA, except for CDBG number 5, the Housing Authority of Salt Lake City's project Revitalizing Riverside Apartments.
Second.
Excellent. It's been moved by Councilmember Wharton and seconded by Councilmember Dugan. Any discussion to this motion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Excellent. It passes unanimously with Councilmember Pui absent. Councilmember Mono will now recuse himself as a member of the Board of Directors for the Housing Authority of Salt Lake City. Once you are off the, oh, there he goes. We will take another motion.
Madam Chair, I move that the council approve a resolution adopting the 2025-2026 annual action plan funding allocations attached to the motion sheet as Exhibit A for item CDBG number 5, the Housing Authority of Salt Lake City's project revitalizing Riverside Apartments.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved by Councilmember Warden and seconded by Councilmember Lopez Chavez. Any discussion to the motion? Petro, I'm sorry. Seconded by Councilmember Petro, for the record. All right, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously with Councilmember Pui absent and Councilmember Mono recused. All right, we will pause for Councilmember Mono to return. We want to let him know. Welcome back. All right, we are now moving on to our comment section for the mayor. Are there any questions for the mayor? All right, Mayor, thank you for being here this evening. We appreciate it, as well as Lindsay. All right, we are now to the general comment portion of the agenda. This is for the public to comment on any city business not scheduled for a public hearing. The section is limited to a maximum of 1 hour and only to those individuals who registered to speak before 7:30 p.m. Our meeting rules apply to these general comments. Please avoid disruptions or threats, or we will ask a staff member to assist you out of the meeting. Also, as a reminder, comments that include profanity, personal attacks, intimidation, or discriminatory language are not persuasive or compelling to the council. They are not helpful to create a respectful or safe environment. To sign up, that closed at 7:30 p.m., so we will begin calling names in order of sign up. If you're on Zoom, please unmute your mic when your name is called, and each person will have 2 minutes. Please raise your hand in the Zoom or in room for staff assistance. If you're having technical issues in Zoom, our staff member Daffodil can assist you. To help make sure as many people as possible can speak during the hour, any person or anyone in person should feel free to come up and stand in line or sit in the front row when you hear your name called. Please also avoid interruptions so that we can use the time for as many people to comment as possible. If you reach the 2-minute mark, the host will announce time and your microphone will be muted. If you're unable to finish your comment, please share the rest via email, mail, or call our office. Contact information is listed at slccouncil.com. If you have a handout for the council, please notify council staff who will assist you. Taylor, you can begin with our first general comment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, we will have Shani Baraki, followed by JD. Shani is here in person.
Hello, thank you. Okay, well, on a personal point, I curiously was a graduate of Angela Romero's 2003 U City government class, and what a beautiful experience that was to see the graduates today, and a huge thank you to Angela. She really made a difference in my life, and that's, anyway, really cool. All right, well, today, thank you for the opportunity to participate in the local government and concerns heard. I've lived along the S-Line between 500 and 600 East block for the past 8 years and have had recently witnessed significant changes that prompted me to speak today. First is regarding accountability. Salt Lake City Police directs concerns to UTA, while UTA points back to the city, leaving a gap in responsibility for this section. Second is regarding safety and accessibility issues. The easement on the north side of the S-Line is being misused as personal parking. Large vehicles are parked for hours throughout the day and night, blocking the sidewalk and creating serious safety hazards for pedestrians, including oblivious children, cyclists, and those with strollers. Third is a noise ordinance violations late in the night into early morning hours, and a continued struggle with accountability when we call local resources. Next, there is an ongoing misuse of the area by unsheltered individuals, including littering, open drug use, the presence of weapons, and unsanitary human waste in public areas, all of which negatively impact the safety and environment of the space. Lastly, I'd like to propose repurposing the unused dirt lot on the south side of the S-Line at 600 East. The space has great potential to be transformed into a community asset such as an art installation, a unique gathering space, or another creative and purposeful use that enhances the neighborhood. Thank you for this opportunity. I look forward to seeing the S-Line thriving with pedestrians in a safe and vibrant environment. Thank you.
And next will be Jade D. Jade is here in person.
Hi, my name is Jay DeYoung. Appreciate the opportunity to speak. I wasn't going to speak tonight, but all the greatness and positivity made me decide to speak. I am here too about the S-Line. I've lived for 24 years on the S-Line, I believe District 5, and I also work in District 1 and own a business for 15 years in District 1, very close to the trail that's having huge problems there. I am actually next door to the property she's talking about. In the last week, I'm not prepared to speak, so I'm just looking at my notes. In the last week, I've had to have the same trouble of accountability come to play. I've had somebody relieve themselves on my property, trespass. I've been told that we don't come for trespassing, we don't come for that. You should call UTA, so I call UTA, they tell me the same thing, it's not our property. Well, it is your property. Well, it's not our property, it's Salt Lake City's. And so we keep getting dodged back and forth. I have, in the last week and a half, 11 reports, 3 police calls, 2 to UTA, and I've seen 2 UTA cops come to my house. And that was because right outside my kitchen window, somebody was relieving himself. We called, they didn't come. The next morning, the same thing happened. I am not dealing with cigarette butts. I am dealing with open drug use, tin foils, smoking pipes, prostitution, as far as, I don't know if it's prostitution, but actual having sex. I know the homeless is an issue all around. Like I said, I've owned a business for 15 years in District 1, real close to the trail. I've dealt with it. And there is no accountability in this section by my house. I mean, I'm literally, UTA come out and sat with me. I don't want to put anybody's name on the board, but twice on Sunday, this very Sunday, because I had been up for 2 days with 23 people partying in front of my house. Now, we're not talking about people that are being helped by these houses that are being built and rezoned, because those are needed. We need more of that low-income housing and help.
Great, thank you. I'm just going to take a personal point of privilege quickly. I want to be clear with both of our previous speakers that we will pass along that information to the Salt Lake Police Department to help clarify the jurisdiction so that you are receiving the supports you need. Thank you. Okay, Taylor, apologies. Back to you for public comment.
That was the final register commenter.
I just jumped in early. Okay. Thank you for taking the time to come and speak with us tonight. We appreciate your comments. It helps inform us to do better work here for the city. So thank you. All right, we are now to new business, and we have item H1 for an ordinance approving an MOU between Salt Lake City and Salt Lake City Police Association.
Madam Chair, I move the council adopt the ordinance approving a memorandum of understanding, or MOU, between Salt Lake City and the Salt Lake City Police Association.
Second.
It has been moved by Council Member Wharton and seconded by Council Member Dugan. Any discussion to the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously with Council Member Poi absent. Our next item is item H2 for a legislative action, a review of city code pertaining to the number of unrelated people in a dwelling unit. I will look for a motion.
Chair, I move that the council adopt a legislative action asking the administration to review city code sections regarding the number of unrelated people living together in a dwelling unit and the definition of family for recommendations of how to update.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Lopez Chavez and seconded by Councilmember Dugan. Any discussion to the motion?
Chair, I'd like to make a comment.
Please.
I just want to remind my colleagues that this will just clarify some code that currently conformed units in certain parts of District 4, but all over the city certainly define unrelated people and how many people can live in a dwelling unit as family, and it will make that language more contemporary to modern uses of housing today.
Thank you. Any other comments? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously with Councilmember Pui absent. Our next item is item H3, which is an ordinance for enacting temporary zoning regulations for the Volunteers of America Youth Resource Center. I'll look for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that the council adopt an ordinance enacting temporary zoning regulations authorizing temporary increase in overnight capacity at the Youth Homeless Resource Center at 888 South 400 West.
Second.
Excellent. It's been moved by Councilmember Dugan and seconded by Councilmember Wharton. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously with Councilmember Pui absent. Our next item is H4, an ordinance for enacting temporary zoning regulations for the Geraldine E. King Women's Resource Center. I'll look for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move the council adopt an ordinance enacting temporary zoning regulations authorizing temporary increase in overnight capacity at the Geraldine E. King Women's Resource Center at approximately 131 East, 700 South.
Second.
Excellent. It's been moved by Councilmember Wharton and seconded by Councilmember Lopez Chavez. Any discussion to the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes unanimously with Councilmember Pui absent. Our next item is item H5, an ordinance for enacting temporary zoning regulations for the Gail Miller Resource Center. I'll look for a motion.
Chair, I move that the council adopt an ordinance enacting temporary zoning regulations authorizing temporary increase in overnight capacity at the Gail Miller Resource Center at 242 West Paramount Avenue.
Second.
Excellent. It's been moved by Councilmember Lopez Chavez and seconded by Councilmember Wharton. Any discussion to the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes unanimously with Councilmember Pui absent. Our final item is item H6, an ordinance for enacting temporary zoning regulations for St. Vincent de Paul's Center. I'll look for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that the council adopt an ordinance enacting temporary zoning regulations that authorize a temporary increase in overnight capacity at St. Vincent de Paul Center located at 437 West, 200 South.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Dugan and seconded by Councilmember Lopez Chavez. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Passes unanimously with Councilmember Pui absent. We have no unfinished business items to address this evening, so it brings us to the consent portion of our agenda. I will look for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda except for I think it was Ari Taper, the one that we didn't have a chance to interview.
Number 9.
Number 9. So that we reschedule that and approve all the others.
Second.
All right, we have a motion moved by Councilmember Wharton and seconded by Councilmember Lopez Chavez to approve the consent calendar minus item number 9, which will be rescheduled for a future date. Any discussion to that motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? It passes unanimously with Councilmember Pui absent. This concludes our Salt Lake City Council meeting. The council's formal meeting now stands adjourned.